WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina.
Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, to our listening audience. Thank you for tuning into Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. You are tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. I would first like to begin with three items that's in the news. One being of the utmost extreme importance. That is Pitt County Sheriff's Office looking for a missing teen. This is by courtesy of WITN Web Team, published on September 28th of 2025. Pitt County is seeking or asking the public's help in finding a missing teen. Officials say 17-year-old Kamika Goss was last seen Saturday and is missing from the Fountain area of Pitt County. Goss is 5'5" in height, weighs 130 pounds, had brown hair, brown eyes. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office at 252-830-4141 or Crime Stoppers at 252-758-7777. Apostle.
Hey, Dr. Glenn, and to our listening audience on today. We are so glad that you tuned in. I'm glad Dr. Glenn has jumped right in and just started right with the documents. I saw this particular one that he was reading about missing teen. And so, we just want to keep that family in our prayers and the teen. I have a lot to say, and maybe we need to do a particular show on this type of subject of missing persons.
Absolutely.
Because, just lately, Dr. Glenn, it just happened that you brought this up, but I have been reading and looking at some things of some missing people and also some teens that have been found and people that have been found. And so maybe we will do a show that's more extended about people that have been found and how they were found. And I had just recently I was looking on one of the social media outlets, and I saw where a 12 or 13-year-old was missing, and she was missing for a while, but she went and she was with someone that she was playing a game with. And that's one of the things we want to warn the parents about, is that some of these games, they're not just games, but adult predators are pretending to be kids, and they can contact your child through that particular game. And I also saw recently, and this is one that we'll come in depth with when we do this particular show, about a person who went to the school and was able to pick up a child that did not belong to them, a teen, and the school turned the child over to him. And I mean, she was like, I think 13. And the family did find her, but they were worried about it. And the fact that this school allowed this person with this sob story, who was not on her pickup list, to come and pick up this 13-year-old and take her away from school.
I got one thing to say to that end. I went to pick up my granddaughter from school one day. I didn't know I had to take a test. I had to take a test. He said, Mr. Johnson, what's her homeroom number? I said, what? What's her homeroom number? I don't know that homeroom number. What's her teacher's name? I said, I know her name. That's all I'm worried about. I'm worried about picking her up. I know her name. What's her homeroom? What grade she in? I'm like, just keep her.
And that's exactly it. It is a process. It is not something that is easy to do. You need to be on that list. And, you know, there's certain things, you know, I had a particular student that I would take after school, and it was my, you know, a little part-time job that I had. But I was right there, and I worked at the particular place,
Yeah.
and still I had to go through certain things. I couldn't just go get them.
Well, I actually wasn't joking on that to that fact, but that's what I call a test because they did ask me those questions. But you know what I did? Before they brought my granddaughter out, I actually gave them my driver's license and my business card. Because I said, look, in the event I should have to come pick her up again, this way you would know that who I am. It has been verified. So here's my driver's license, scan it into your system. In the event I have to come back and pick her up, which they did. Now, you had mentioned maybe we should do a broadcast on missing people, which is another reason why we have invited Sergeant Darnell to be on with us to do another broadcast of the senior check program that the Pitt County Sheriff's Office offers. Because if you recall last year, I think it was maybe a couple of months ago, I did a show on the senior check program because one of the mothers at my church, at the church that I attend rather, she said that they had a friend that was missing in the neighborhood. And they noticed he hadn't been outside to move his trash cans or anything like that. So they were kind of, you know, worried about him when they called 911 and they showed up with all his apparatus, going with hazmat suits because they thought just to protect themselves. But when they went in, he had been there so long, probably deceased, that when they went in, there was nothing there. He had been there that long. His whole body just deteriorated.
Wow. And that's why, you know, it's important to keep watch. I also saw another story, and when we do this missing persons particular broadcast, this young person, they were an adult, but a young adult, and the man that had abducted her kept her in a box under his bed, and she had been there for years.
Then it's, you know what, I'm sorry to say, this usually happens all over the country. If you look on, you know, I consider YouTube and Google very reliable sources because sometimes the videos on YouTube of actual fact, and it shows a lot of crazy missing people. And when they show the video, it should find police finally locating the person to find them deceased or if they find them alive, where they might have been in a basement, tied up, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely both. And so when we do that particular broadcast, we're going to do both. Some that have been found successfully, because I think those are powerful stories that, you know, that someone would abduct you and you live through it. You know, you've lived through the mind, you know, going through the mind of somebody that doesn't have good sense, because they wouldn't be abducting anyone if they did have good sense. So, or the mind of somebody that's just crazy, that has fantasies or things in their mind about other people, and you have to live through that. You survive. There's even a child who was in, and I believe he was in Florida, and he was picked up, you know, abducted by a person, and he continued to sing a gospel song. And he was sitting on the seat of the car singing a gospel song. And I think the words of that song irritated that abductor, and he put the child out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, actually our topic of discussion today is part 2 on Bible trivia questions and answers. But we have 2 more documents of what's in the news, and I'll just read one briefly, and then I'll give the second one to Apostle. Volunteers host Storm Kit Drive to aid Greenville's homeless during hurricane season. That source is WCTI News 12 on September 28, 2025. And the second one is Governor Stein declares state of emergency ahead of hazardous weather. Apostle.
Yes, Dr. Glenn, we're getting ready to go out. And hey, Dr. Glenn, don't rush us too fast now. Don't take me too fast because you went on over and I wasn't done. But anyhow, let's go ahead and we'll look at these documents when we're getting ready to come up on a break. But I want to take a moment right before we go on this break and we revisit these documents because I think this is a very positive and powerful thing that we're seeing here on one of them. I want to invite you that if you want to call in today, you can call in and be live on the air with us. And the phone number here is 252-756-2008. 252-756-2008.
That is correct.
Okay, I got it. I almost said that wrong number.
And just, I'm waiting for some individuals that I have made contact with that actually texted me about the broadcast today and said they will be calling in because I made a post on Facebook. They saw it and they advised me that they will be calling if they can. I know one gentleman said he had to pick his granddaughter up from school, so maybe he'll be calling later as we proceed through the broadcast. Apostle, take us out the break.
Hey, we're waiting on you, and we're waiting on those calls sitting right here, and we're going to be happy to see you. Hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, and you're listening to us on Awesome Radio. Back in a moment.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
There will be a series of Pitt County municipal candidate forums beginning September 30th to October 10th for Ayden, Grifton, Farmville, Fountain, Winterville, Bethel, and Greenville. The full schedule is on our website, awesomeradionetwork.org. Click on the WECU logo. You will also see a link to a candidate's question form where you can write in questions to the candidates and our moderators will read them for you. You can even be anonymous. For more information, reach us at 252-756-3137. We look forward to your presence at these Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forums for Ayden, Grifton, Farmville, Fountain, Winterville, Bethel, and Greenville, September 30th through October 10th. See the full schedule, dates, times, and locations on our website, awesomeradionetwork.org. Click on the WECU logo. We can be reached at 252-756-3137.
Hello, my name is Daniel out of Greenville. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our apostle was saying as we were going out to the break, I went a little bit too fast. She still wanted to talk about the other two items that's in the news that's of extreme importance as well. So I'm going to give it right back over to Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams.
Yes, so one of the documents Dr. Glenn was talking about was there was a volunteer host storm kit drive. And this storm kit drive was on September 28, 2025. I just think it was an awesome particular event. And it says this weekend, a group of volunteers and community activists in Greenville provided some relief today with Storm Kit Supply Drive. They had ponchos, clean clothes, food, and more were being donated and given away to those in need. And that was concerning the particular, was it hurricane or tropical storm or something we just had?
Yeah.
It's over now, right? As I understand.
Yeah, as you understand, it's correct, but there's still some things lingering in the air. If you were to read it, we get to the next document, you just see that Governor Stein issued a state of emergency for upcoming weather concerns.
Oh, yes. I wish that, I had known about this particular event or that it was more advertised so that other people I could have given some particular items or things to donate it, for those, the homeless, especially, especially with some food or something that could help with this particular drive. So I really wish I had known about it, but I think it's very good. It's a very positive thing to help people to be prepared for the storm if you're homeless. Well, and then my biggest thing that I don't see on the list is getting them inside if you're homeless and you're outside in a storm. What good is food going to do for you when you need a place to stay and you need to be inside? What are they doing to help you get out of the storm besides giving you things to live through the storm?
We'll do a little bit more research on that as well, because if you recall, when we did the broadcast on the homeless, who was supposed to go to that center and ask them some information to possibly see if one of them from the shelter will come on the broadcast with us. So we'll still have to look into that when we get to it.
Yeah, so I think this, as we're looking at it, is more about those that have been already displaced from a storm, and not so much as, those that are preparing those that are homeless for a storm. Because you can't prepare anybody homeless for a storm except you giving them a place to stay to get out of the storm, or giving them some place to, to live so they're protected from the storm. Food is not going to help you out in the rain. There is a poncho. I guess it's the thought that counts, but my mind looks a little further than a poncho and some food.
Well, just like your mind looks a little further, I'm thinking that perhaps these individuals heading up the event, they probably thought the same thing. They probably have made some arrangements to have people indoors.
Oh yeah, that would be the best course. And also, Dr. Glenn, we can look at also giving some things to prepare for a storm. And I think we've done it in the past. We've done a show where it talked about preparing you, and just not that long ago, we talked about it.
Exactly.
Preparing you for a storm and preparing. And so hopefully.
Yeah, and that's what we said. We'll go by that shelter.
Yeah.
Have talk to them, find out further information, probably have one of them on the broadcast.
And we talked about the evacuation area, where to go, and we just all didn't know what to do. We're going to have to sit and pray and try to figure it out. We were talking about the emergency broadcast system, too, at that time. So that hasn't been that long ago. And I think we're no better off now than we were when we ended the show, not knowing what to do or where the meetup point is here.
Yeah.
We still have a little bit more research to do on that. I think we're not going to leave that as a blank and not find out what we should know.
We'll just have to let go and let God.
Well, and that's what we're going to have to do, is sit and pray and hope that Noah comes by with the ark.
That's right. Let's get to that other document with with Governor Stein, because we'll have 30 more minutes for today's broadcast.
Yes, and I did see, on some of the social media, Dr. Glenn, that there was a state of an emergency being declared even for South Carolina, for the storms, ahead of the storms.
Yeah.
Because they were expecting things to be kind of heavy. And I believe we're still seeing some wind even here now. And I believe some of that wind is still coming from the storm. So today, Governor Stein declared a state of emergency as North Carolina prepares for heavy rainfall and potential impacts from Tropical Depression 9, or future named Storm Imelda.
Yeah, Amelia.
Imelda. I think the storm is Imelda, and that's a female name. Sometimes I did know at one time why they named them females. Every so often, or after a certain amount of storms named female names, then they put one male in there. I've forgotten how the pattern goes. If it's every two females and then one male, it's some kind of way they do those storms that they alternate between female names and the male names, but it's definitely more females names than there are male names. And then I believe the female names have been the storms that are the worst, like Hurricane Katrina. And they named it a female name, and the worst categories, they named them female.
Yeah. If they name one after my ex, Hurricane Cynthia, that'd be a killer.
Oh, Dr. Glenn.
I'm just messing around.
I never met her, but
I'm just
wherever
joking.
she is, I hope she's
No,
okay with that.
She's fine. She's fine. She's a wonderful woman. She's the mother of smart children, so God bless her.
And she probably saying just the opposite, that it's Hurricane Glenn.
Yeah, that's right. Hurricane Glenn's a killer.
Typhoon Glenn. So the governor was already getting us ready. I don't know. I think that this is already, some of the storm is already passed. We saw that already. And I don't know. I know in this area, we just got the wind and rain.
Yeah, because last week and the week prior, we had an awful.
For down on the coast where it could, that's where they get the fuller impact of the storms and those particular things. It said North Carolina residents and visitors are advised to follow their local government and local news outlets on websites and on social media. Many local emergency management agencies have public notification systems in place that anyone can sign up for.
Yeah. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I was saying that you can go to the Pitt County government website, pittcountync.gov, and sign up for HyperReach. You can set up an account, log in, and receive alerts on your cell phone, on your home phone, and your email address for the Pitt County HyperReach.
There's also a travel information one that says readync.gov. So you can look and see about where you're traveling to or other areas outside of your local area.
Absolutely.
So, concerning storms, and that definitely is very important if you do travel, and the potential of a storm coming up. That weekend, definitely I was out of town in South Carolina, and then I saw the warnings for a tropical storm. I said, wait a minute. Now, where did storm come from the moment I leave town? I'm in town every week, and there's no storm, and now I'm out of town, and here comes the storm.
Because you won't believe how quick something could roll through. That gusty wind, the high winds, and roll that thing in quicker than you could turn your head.
I saw it looking like it was going to rain, but it didn't rain, Dr. Glenn.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I have seen this with my own eyes quite a few times. Have you ever been driving or just walking? You look up the street, and you can see the storm coming. Have that ever occurred to you?
Definitely. And, Dr. Glenn, when I was a teen, we're getting ready to go out on a break, and I'm going to put a pin right there in that story. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you what I saw when I was a teen to answer Dr. Glenn's questions. Hey, we want you to hang in there and come right back with us right after this break. This is the Glenn Johnson Show with Dr. Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams, and you're listening to us on Awesome Radio. Hey, you still have some time to call in. Get on the line with us and call in, and we're waiting for those callers that said they would call today. Dr. Glenn?
Phone your neighbors, wake the kids, have them call in. Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM. Back in a moment.
Hello, my name is Dr. Wiley Nifong. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
Equal access means equal, even if you're a Christian. Stay tuned. You're going to want to hear this legally.
Today's legal case is from the files of the Christian Law Association. Here's attorney David Gibbs, Jr.
Jody called our CLA attorneys because her local city-run community center was refusing her Bible study to have any access. The management told her that separation of church and state would not allow them to come in to this city-run community center. Our attorneys were happy to explain to Jody that the federal law known as the Equal Access Act absolutely protected her over exactly this issue. Government entities cannot treat religious groups any different than they would a secular group. Let me repeat that. Government entities cannot treat religious groups any different than they would secular groups. To do so would be religious discrimination, and the law forbids that. Armed with this information, Jody went back to the center, and they allowed her Bible study to rent the room that she needed. Praise the Lord. Her Bible study is now ongoing. Be sure that you know equal access means equal access, even for Christians.
And that's today's Legal Alert with David Gibbs, Jr. from the Christian Law Association.
and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivation with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. She did mention that she wanted to explain something as we were going to break, so we're going to give her the opportunity to explain that because we still have 30 minutes for our Bible trivia questions and answers. So, Apostle.
So you were asking me if I had ever been driving and saw the storm coming. And I was going to tell you that when I was a teen, for a few years, I was raised in Detroit for most of my, elementary all the way up until I was 16. So from 16 to 19, I lived in Louisiana. And they, there were where my grandmother's land or the family's land that we still have today, it was out in the country. And there was a row of trees. There was a field, and then there was a row of trees that ran right along where the field was. And when it began to rain, you can look out and actually see the rain traveling forward.
Exactly. That's what I've witnessed also.
Yeah, you can see it traveling forward because it was right there next to the trees. The contrast color of the trees versus the field, you could see the rain coming.
And I just wanted to say, I witnessed the same thing quite a few times, but I'll tell you about two. One, I was a teenager, and we left the Jersey Shore, went to Yankee Stadium and watched the Yankees play. Well, we were on the outside of the stadium, looked across the street, decided we were on a bright and sunny, sun was shining. Across the street, a tropical storm. It was literally pouring down. We thought, what in the world going on? We thought it was the end of the world. How could it be raining on one side of the street and not the other? But it soon came across the street. Everybody started running into the stadium. I said, I'm not running in that place. Because, that, of course, they did a rain delay. I said, they should have a storm delay. This is a storm. I'm not getting in that stadium. I'm getting back on the bus, which is what I did. And then one time I was driving. I think I was in Rhode Island. As I'm driving down 95, I'm looking ahead. Where I was at was nice and clear, but looking ahead was all dark. I could see the storm approaching me. As soon as I got down the road, it just started banging on my windshield. I had to pull a car over. I couldn't even see the drive. It was raining so bad.
Definitely, and that's what's best to do. And Dr. Glenn, I agree with you. I will do it in a minute. If it is too bad, I do not mind pulling on the side of the road and waiting. I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. Go around, go on about your business. If I can't see, then I'm putting myself in danger and everybody else in danger. So I need to sit still until it passes a little bit or lighten up in a way that I can see.
And I just thought about something. I actually pulled under a bridge. You can pull, like you ride on the highway.
Yes.
There's an overpass or a bridge.
Yes.
I'll pull under there. But now thinking about that, I actually think that was dangerous because what if the overpass or the bridge would have collapsed?
Right, but I think when a storm, that's a safe place to go, especially when it's a tornado or something like that, that under the, is more safe because you're not out where things are falling or, being thrown around, or you could be picked up in the car and be spent around or thrown around too, depending on what kind of storm.
That's absolutely correct.
So I wouldn't mind. I think that's a safe place. I see motorcycle riders doing it. They out there and got caught in that storm and that rain is beating down on them. They get under those underpasses, sit right there and wait.
I have had to do that about 100 times.
Oh, yeah. And I understand, it's safety, it's shelter. And so I won't say, what if it collapsed? It has to be something wrong with it to collapse. So I wouldn't even put that in it. But we have another, and we were just on that commercial. I took note of the words and I wrote it down on our last commercial break where it said equal access means equal access.
Yeah, he was saying about religious discrimination.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that in a lot of places, they don't want to hear anything about Christians. They'll promote anything else and try to relabel it as something else. But if it's anything to do with Christianity or that is of a positive nature like that, they will not receive it. You know, a lot of places, and we're getting ready to come up. I have to say this, Dr. Glenn. I love when I have to put my foot down and stand up for a second. I have to stand up for a second and say this to our audience. You know, a lot of places, especially when it comes to Halloween, they'll rename the thing, but it's still celebrating and having on scary costumes and different things, and they've given it a different name, and it's in this season. So now they're calling it a fall this or, whatever. You know, there's a bunch of different names that they're naming for it, but it's the same thing with the same candy and the same scary costumes that you see at Halloween.
Yeah.
But we cannot have any alternate thing for Christmas.
Let me ask you a question. In your opinion, is Halloween demonic and satanic?
It is, you know, and I see some of these things that, and it bothers me every year. That's why I'm standing up. I absolutely detest seeing the kids and the babies scared of some of the things that we see out here at that time in that season. To see a child screaming because they don't understand that they're looking at something, you know, with all these teeth and blood and mouth open and growling at them and that type of thing. It makes me, I get upset when I see it. I get angry. I'm thinking, what's wrong with you, parent, that you allowed your child to witness this thing and see it? And, you know, as a child who had bad dreams, as a child who saw those type of things in my dreams and would wake up, you know, with my heart beating and sweating, I see that stuff now and I look at it and I say, you know, it's crazy. Don't put fear. You know, it's hard enough to go through life without having fear, but it's like that is imparted. Fear is being imparted to the kids because they're being exposed to those things.
And the only thing I like about it, you know, is when I first found out about this. When it comes to the pumpkin, a co-worker asked another co-worker, what is it like being a Christian? The co-worker responded, it's like being a pumpkin. She's like, what do you mean? She said, God picks you out of a patch, brings you inside, carves a hole in your head, dips out all the gook, put a bright smile on your face, and put a light inside of you to shine for the whole world to see.
Well, that is a good comparison, but there's nothing in the Bible that is promoting Halloween. There's nothing there.
That's right.
Except this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it.
That's right.
That's every day. So there's no promotion of, you know, Halloween in the Bible concerning Christians.
And is it Halloween or Halloween?
It's just all a mess, Dr. Glenn.
It's a complete mess.
It's a complete and utter mess, no matter how you pronounce it. But I understand people trying to give kids alternatives, you know, but we just have to still be careful that we're not giving them a different way to celebrate Halloween.
I actually think it should be replaced with something else.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they can stop selling candy on that day.
Yeah. They can stop doing anything on that day.
That's right.
October 31st.
That's right. We could be a national prayer day or something, but it just, like I said, it's the scary things. If you're doing something positive, exclude the scary costumes. Don't let them come in just dressed any kind of way. There are some positive things out there. Let the child dress up as, you know, the president or somebody, you know. I mean, I know they may not want to dress up like this president, but I'm just saying, you know, let them dress up like Martin Luther King or dress up like somebody that had a positive influence on society. There are things that they could do that are very cute. And I've seen some things that are cute.
I'm going to say one last thing to that. Born on Halloween, a queen of witchcraft.
Oh my goodness, no, none of that for the children.
None of that for the children.
And I've seen some funny memes, Dr. Glenn. We can go out on another break here. And I'm going to mention a meme that I've seen about, you know, witch flying. And somebody says, you know, that now their relative is doing their first flight, and they got a picture of a witch on a broom.
Yeah, because we'll be back with 20 more minutes. We definitely have to get to some Bible trivia questions and answers.
Definitely. And we'll just mention when we come back the equal access this particular role of Bible founding in the United States, because we talked about having Bible studies in schools in different places, and our commercial just mentioned that, hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, and you're listening to us on Awesome Radio. We will be right back in a moment. Come on back and hear the rest.
Keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show.
Hello, my name is Tracy, and you're listening to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WEC Radio. Thank you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show here on Awesome Radio with Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. We have reached our final 20 minutes of today's broadcast. So let's go back over to Apostle with the first Bible trivia question and answer.
Oh, Dr. Glenn, you pushed me right on there. We'll look at this other document at another time, the role of the Bible
Oh, that's right. Get to that.
in founding of the United States and religious mandates in public schools. This was one that we didn't have before, but Dr. Glenn has an underline here, and it says the U.S. Constitution itself was a unique founding document, and how few references to religion it included. Now, the United States was founded upon "In God We Trust." That's
right.
still on our money today, that in God we trust. You know, they were, even though, you know, we see now that we come into a greater knowledge of, you know, concerning religion from what they had back then, and how they believed, you know, in slavery and enslaving, you know, people in this country. We've come to the full knowledge of the truth.
And what else is on the money is the all-seeing eye. You know, that pyramid
Yeah.
with the all-seeing eye above it.
Yeah, that's
What-
something wicked, whatever it is.
You think it's something wicked?
It's something wicked, whatever it is. It's something wicked. That all-seeing eye and that pyramid. Now, I know that at some time people have broken down all of those things, but I know from this point and looking out there, even not knowing exactly what it means, I know that it's wicked, because the all-seeing eye on anything is something wicked.
And I forgot what denomination of money this is, but whatever it is, it shows the either the White House. I think it's the White House. It shows what you think would be somebody holding a lantern, but it's actually somebody black guy hanging from a rope.
Yeah,
It's
see,
printed on the money.
I can't do it, Dr. Glenn. I did see something about that
Right.
someone was hanging from a rope on
From
the
a rope.
money.
On the money, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to pray over the money when you get it, because you don't want to be hanging from a rope because of the money. And so we're going to look at some Bible trivia questions here. I have a few here. These ones are kind of cute, you know, Dr. Glenn. Has 4 on here. I have a paper here that also talks about what each Old Testament book represents, what it means.
Yeah, I saw that
And
one,
I
yeah.
thought that one was really nice. We might need to use that at another time in 100 Bible verses that every Christian should know. We
Should
talked
know, yeah.
about the importance last week of doing Bible trivia, the fun that you could have, the sharpness, how it could bring knowledge and things back to your memory, and how it is also good for kids and for us to go back and do Bible trivia, because it helps to test our knowledge. It also may open up some things that we have forgotten or that we heard, you know, briefly at one time, and it has slipped our memory. And it also will sharpen us for new things that we didn't know. So Bible trivia is very powerful. So I'm going to ask this question here, right here. It says, what is the name and age of the oldest person mentioned in the Bible? What's the name and the age of and my grandmother used to say this, their oldest, and she would use that name, that person's name.
Old as Methuselah.
Old as Methuselah. We always heard that. So that's how we knew, because they would say those things. They old as Methuselah. So look, never knew anything about Methuselah, but we knew Methuselah was old because of how they used to say that. And it said he lived 969 years. That's almost 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
You know, people don't live, there's nobody living like that today. The time is cut short. You can get into your hundreds, but you're not getting into 900. But they ate differently than we do now. They ate differently, and they looked, you know, things were just different back then. But Methuselah, we heard that's the oldest living person mentioned in the Bible, Methuselah. And so here is number 2. Which of these did not have their name changed in the Bible? And I'm going to give you these names. So everybody here had their name changed except one person. Sarah, Abraham, Jacob, David, or Peter. Which person did not have their name changed? Because God would change their names. It would also be signifying of a change of personality, status, or something that God had honored them with. So is Sarah, Abraham, Jacob, David, or Peter? Which one did not have their name changed?
I'm thinking that's on the tip of my tongue. I think I might know this. I think it might have been Jacob.
No, Jacob had his name changed to Israel.
That's right. That's right.
Remember, he was the father
Yeah.
of the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes' names came from him. Remember, Esau and Jacob were twins.
Yeah. Now I'm stumped.
So it's not Jacob. Is it Sarah, Abraham, David, or Peter?
Well, there was Peter and Paul, so it couldn't be Peter and Paul. Peter. It couldn't be David. Was it Sarah?
It was not Sarah, because Sarah's name was changed to Sarai. So I'm going to give you the answer for this one. Abraham's name was changed, and it is David. King David was always King David. Abraham's name was changed. Sarah's name was changed. Jacob's name was changed. And Peter's name was changed. Remember Peter too, Jesus said, upon this rock, I build my church.
Yeah.
So Peter's name was changed. And so Peter's name was changed to Simon. Remember they sometimes would say Simon Peter. And that's John 1:42. Abraham to Abram.
Yeah.
And Sarah to Sarai. And Jacob to Israel. So all of them had a name change except King David. His name was David from the time he was a shepherd boy, and even till he took the throne, God never changed his name.
And that's why I said last week, this is an encouraging thing for me, because I don't know it all, And while we have this, I'm learning as we go along with this broadcast.
Well, there's a few more that I'm going to get here. Just one right here. What names was Moses supposed to give to the Israelite when asked about who sent him? What was the name that Moses was supposed to give to the Israelites when asked who sent him? Is it Elohim, El Shaddai, I am who I am, or I am the Lord? Which one did God tell Moses to tell the people that he was sent by?
I am the Lord.
I am who I am.
Oh,
that is it.
My goodness.
I tell them I am sent thee. And that is it. And that comes from Exodus 3:13 and 14. That's a powerful revelation and who God is when it says, tell them that I am sent thee. That's right. I am who I am.
Who I am. That's right.
That's right. And he spoke that to Moses. That was powerful. Powerful that he met him at the burning bush. And he told him to tell him I am has sent thee. In the story of Samuel, which is not true. And so this is the true or false. We're looking for the one that's not true. His mother was called Hannah. He anointed 3 kings of Israel, Joseph, Saul, and David. He succeeded the prophet Eli. He had a vision while he was still very young.
Which one is not true?
Not true.
His mother was Hannah. Not true.
No, his mother was Hannah. It is answer B. He anointed 3 kings of Israel, Joseph, Saul, and David. That is not true. The prophet Samuel anointed Saul and David. Joseph is not a king. He had been the governor in Egypt many times before. So he only anointed 2 kings, which was Saul and David. I love Samuel and the stories of Samuel. That's one of my favorite prophet stories is about Samuel.
All right, but was it, who was the mother of Jesus? Mother Mary.
Yes, Mother Mary. So we're not talking about her husband, Joseph.
Okay.
We're talking about, but that Joseph was not a king either. That was just his father. Hey, Dr. Glenn, we're getting ready to go out on another break. We have just one more segment left, and we're going to come back and do just a little bit more trivia. And we're going to invite you on. Again, we have a few minutes. We're waiting on those callers to call in, and you could call in and be live with us on the air. Maybe they got busy, Dr. Glenn, and they couldn't get on today.
That's probably true.
So,
And when we come back, before we end the broadcast, we'll play this 44-second audio clip on the missing teen, just to remind everybody that the Pitt County Sheriff's Office is seeking the public help in locating this teen who's been missing.
Dr. Glenn will do that right away. Hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show. Listening to us on Awesome Radio. We will be right back in a moment. Right back.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get right back to it. I'm going to play this 44-second audio clip, then give it back over to Apostle for the remainder of the Bible trivia.
Now, we do have news out of Pitt County and Beaufort County we need your help with. Pitt County Sheriff's Office says Christy Gorman was last seen July 19th in Beaufort County. The 37-year-old woman is 5'3" and weighs about 140 pounds, according to deputies. Now, she has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have information on Gorman's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Pitt County Sheriff's Office at 252-830-4141. You can find that number there at the bottom of your screen, or you can reach out to the Pitt County Crime Stoppers line at 252-758-7777.
All right, that's only 44 seconds. Should I play that again, Apostle?
Yes, because I think we said the wrong thing. I think that is a grown person versus the teen that's missing from Greenville. We want to clarify that. That's somebody from a different county, too.
All right, we'll play it again, both Pitt County and Beaufort County.
Now, we do have news out of the Pitt County and Beaufort County that we need your help with. Pitt County Sheriff's Office says Christy Gorman was last seen July 19th in Beaufort County. The 37-year-old woman is 5'3" and weighs about 140 pounds, according to deputies. Now, she has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have information on Gorman's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Pitt County Sheriff's Office at 252-830-4141. You can find that number there at the bottom of your screen, or you can reach out to the Pitt County Crime Stoppers line at 252-758-7777.
And if anybody should like a copy of that document with the phone numbers, please don't hesitate to email me at Glenn, Glenn, Johnson Show at gmail.com. I will be more than delighted to forward it to you, Apostle.
Yes, we're going to do one more, and I think we have time for just one more. But Dr. Glenn, we did make that clear that that was an adult that was 30-something years old that is missing versus the 16-year-old that is missing from Pitt County. So we want, to make sure that, our listeners, understand that that is two different reports. And so if you've seen that teen, that teen is hiding out, because sometimes teenagers, they run away and they're hiding out in somebody's house or hanging out with some adult. Some parents, they don't really check on things like that or see who's in their house or whatever, and they allow a child to stay there. So, if you know where that child is, definitely make sure that you call and turn them in, because they need to be home and they need to be looked after. And so I'm going to do one more trivia question real quick, and we're going to be done with this for today. Which animal spoke to Balaam? And we're talking about Balaam the prophet. Who spoke to Balaam? Was it a donkey, a camel, a lamb, or a dove? And I'm giving just a second so you can think about it. Which animal spoke to Balaam? A donkey, a camel, a lamb, or a dove? Looks like Dr. Glenn is getting all unplugged and getting his egg. We got a phone call there. Hey, we're going to get you right on very quickly.
Caller, you're live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. You have a comment or question?
It was a donkey.
Somebody said it was a donkey. You are absolutely correct. Thank you for calling in and give us that answer today. The donkey spoke to Balaam. There are some things today And I believe that sometimes we hear some animals mimicking some sounds. I saw a cat say, "Help me," one day. And the cat was saying, "Help me."
Caller, would you mind sharing with us where you're calling from? Do we still have the caller on the line? I believe the caller has hung up.
Hey, caller, thank you so much for calling in and giving us that answer. You were quick and you were right on it. It wasn't a very hard question. If you know the Word of God and you've been in Bible class, and those of you that didn't know, you can go and you can look that up and you can see that answer is in Numbers 22 and 28. I have one more, Dr. Glenn. We got 5 minutes. Maybe a caller is going to call in. And it says, as a shepherd, David protected his flock from 2 dangerous animals. Which ones was it? Was it a snake and a camel? Was it a bear and a lion, a snake and a wolf, a bear and a scorpion? Which one is the answer? What did David protect his flock from when he was tending the sheep? I'm going to give it just a second, Dr. Glenn.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
may want to call in. Oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
We have another caller.
We have a caller. Caller, you're live on the air on the Cullins Johnson Show. Have a comment or question?
A lion and a bear.
A lion and a bear. You are absolutely correct. Oh, I love these people that know the Word of God. Thank you so much, caller, for calling in. Dr. Glenn?
Caller, would you like to share with us where you're calling from?
Greenville, North Carolina.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for calling in with that answer. Thank you very much.
That's right. That answer comes out of 1 Samuel 17 and verse 34. 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 34. And you are absolutely correct. Thank you so much, caller, for calling in quick, fast, and in a hurry. Dr. Glenn, I love it. We may have to do this another time and give our public time to call in. There's a lot of people that know this word, know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
And that's what it's all about. It's a great learning experience for all of us. As I mentioned twice already, and I mentioned the third time and last time, it's a learning and educational experience for myself as well. I know a lot, but do I know it all? No, I don't. So as we do these broadcasts, I'm learning just as well as our listening audience are learning what we're learning together. All of us know what we know, but we need to know more. Every day is an educational experience. There's always something to learn each and every day.
Definitely, Dr. Glenn. And I myself, by looking at a lot of things that we presented on the broadcast, I had to look at those things. I had to get the knowledge of them, especially things that I wasn't, familiar with or that I wasn't precise about. I had to go and study those things. So I've gained a wealth of knowledge of things since I have been on this show myself.
Yeah. And as we move forward, I want to make contact with Sergeant Darnell. Once again, as I mentioned, we would like to have him on the broadcast to talk about the senior check program that the Pitt County Sheriff's Office provide, because I think that's very informative information for our listening audience to know and for our residents of Pitt County.
Hey, I'm going to encourage you to get this Bible trivia, take it to your church, do it as a Bible class tonight, lighten things up and have some fun, have some prizes, do it at Sunday school, do it at choir practice for yourself or for the kids, and let's get this thing and get this information and continue to do trivia and grow in the church houses. Go ahead and do it. Do your women's group, your men's group. Get the trivia going, and let's be a blessing and grow in knowledge. Dr. Glenn?
I'm going to ask you a question before we do the broadcast. Do you recall the name of the school, the only school in Pitt County that offers a student-led Bible study?
I think we talked about, we said Doherty?
D.H. Conley.
D.H. Conley. Okay, Doherty. I said Doherty. I know it started with a D, and Doherty is not even in this state. It's in another state, but it's D.H. Conley. And I remember we said it last week. I'm not as familiar with the high schools because I don't go there. Right. So, or have any kids that are in that age. Hey, we hope that you really enjoyed our podcast on today. We know we had a few laughs here, and we are looking forward to next week and what we're going to bring in. Hopefully, we'll have the sergeant on next week, maybe or possibly, but be looking out, and we may bring them on quickly. Hey, we want to look for you next week, right back here at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays at this time. Dr. Glenn?
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And just to say, may the Lord take a liking to you. May God bless you as always, as He has been doing in your life thus far. So may the Lord and Father God continue to bless you all the days of your life. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So to God be the glory. God bless everybody. Apostle will end the broadcast at this time.
Hey, we're keeping you in our prayers. We pray that you're safe and that we'll see you back here on next week. We're going to have another great show. We're going to have some more information, and we're looking forward to seeing you. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, and you're listening to us on Awesome Radio. We will see you next week.